Good afternoon. This is State Senator Josh McKoon. I'm coming to you from the Coverdale Legislative Office Building on Friday, March the 7th. We've just concluded our 34th legislative day of our 40-day session. I wanted to give you a quick rundown of what happened this week. Monday was the 30th legislative day, also known as Crossover Day, which is the day by which one bill has to pass either the House or the Senate to remain alive for the session. So we had a lot on our calendar, over 30 bills. I want to talk to you about just a couple of things. Senate Bill 98 passed overwhelmingly in the Senate, and this bill stripped out any state subsidy, any taxpayer subsidy for abortion in the state of Georgia. I think this is a common sense reform. It's something that I think people on both sides of this debate can agree on, that taxpayers should not be underwriting abortion services. I was pleased to support it. Senator Harbison, my colleague from Columbus, offered Senate Bill 276, which designated Georgia as a Purple Heart state. It was unanimously adopted by the Senate and again shows our commitment to our veterans. Senate Bill 293, which was offered by my colleague Senator Fran Miller, offered the reform of our ad valorem tax process to give property taxpayers more of a say when they appeal an assessment that is overvalued. I think the robust reform that Senator Miller has proposed is good for property taxpayers. I think, frankly, it's going to be good for local governments because it's going to make them really drill down and make sure that they're properly assessing property. And I think that's going to be a great win for everybody in Senate District 29. Senate Bill 381, the Georgia First and Former Broadcasters Act, simply provides a process by which broadcasters can get to their locations in a state of emergency to inform the public of important information related to a natural disaster or other emergency. And it passed by an overwhelming margin. I was proud to support this bill, which was offered by Senator Brandon Beach. We also had a constitutional amendment that was offered by my colleague Bill Heath, Senate Resolution 783, which prohibits the levy of any state ad valorem taxes going forward in the future. I believe strongly we should do everything we can to get away from ad valorem taxes. I was proud to support it. It received a constitutional majority and now moves over to the House. If it passes there, it'll be on your ballot in November. So that was day 30. On Tuesday, day 31, I carried a bill, House Bill 135, that deals with claims against cities. It simply provides that people making claims against a city have to specify a monetary amount of damages. I think that's going to help settle a lot of cases and actually reduce litigation against cities. And it passed by a strong margin. House Bill 176, the Mobile Broadband Infrastructure Leads to Development Act, also known as the BUILD Act, simply puts in a uniform set of zoning guidelines for the installation of broadband infrastructure, cellular phone towers, things of that nature. It's going to allow us to move very quickly to further broadband technology throughout the state and increase wireless connectivity for all Georgians. House Bill 719 simply provides for counties and municipalities that had used the baseball arbitration to resolve sales tax disputes, which was thrown out by the Supreme Court last year. That allows them to move forward with a negotiated agreement on how to expend SPLOST dollars. It's common sense legislation, and it passed by a large majority. That was on Tuesday. Now, Wednesday, day 32, I was proud to support Senate Resolution 1061, which commended Georgia's school workers who worked so hard during the snowstorm, particularly here in the metro Atlanta area, but certainly as well in the Troup and Meriwether County areas during some of the inclement weather we had back in January, to make sure students were safe, that they were the number one priority. People worked overtime, in some cases overnight, to make sure students were well taken care of, and it was my pleasure to support that resolution. We also had Columbus Day at the Capitol. We had a lot of folks from Columbus, particularly a lot of young professionals who came and joined us. It was great to have City Manager Isaiah Hughley with us, as well as Mike Gaiman from the Chamber of Commerce. And that was pretty much what we did on Wednesday. It was a lighter day, a lot of committee work. Thursday, Legislative Day 33, we considered the fiscal year 2015 budget. This budget appropriates approximately $20.8 billion for the coming fiscal year. It has a couple of items of local interest. One is $4.95 million for the renovation of Arnold Hall at Columbus State University. Also, there's funding for the new judgeship in the Troup and Meriwether County areas, which I look forward to supporting as we move through the rest of the session. And that was most of the activity on Thursday. Again, we had many committee meetings in the afternoon on House legislation. Then today, Friday, we had several bills on the calendar. The most significant one, House Bill 740, which provides for a process where active military who are not Georgia residents can get hunting and fishing licenses. It passed overwhelmingly, just another way to show our appreciation to our military folks, whether they are Georgia residents or they are just here for a tour of duty before moving on to their next duty location. And finally, we had Columbus State University Day today. It was great to see Dr. Tim McKoon and the whole Columbus State University team, as well as a number of students who gave up part of their spring break to learn a little bit more about the legislative process. It was my pleasure to welcome them all, along with Senator Harbison. And that was pretty much the week here in the General Assembly. We'll be coming back to you next week. We'll be in session Monday through Thursday for days 35 through 38, and then we'll have our final 2 days the following week, adjourning on March the 20th for the year. If you have any questions about anything I've talked to you about today, or if you have any other questions or concerns about pending legislative issues, don't hesitate to call my office at 404-463-3931. You can also get in touch with us online at joshmckoon.com. It's a great privilege and honor to represent the people of Georgia's 29th Senatorial District, and I look forward to coming back to you next week with another legislative update.